Okay, hi, my name is Sevi, and I'm going to be presenting on this week's lesson on race, gender, and sexuality as aesthetics. So, to start off, we read two pieces this week. One was by Michael Warner, lately spoken at the African Theater, and this piece was about the American Theater, most commonly known as the African Theater in New York many years ago. And not much is really known about this theater, so this was telling us what was known. And the most commonly conspirized or thought to be thing was that the soliloquy was spoken there, which this was a piece, almost a poetic piece, and it was a speech about racism and really breaking down where racism comes from, the scientific side, the factual evidence, but then writing it into a way that was very poetic and very symbolic on what racism is, why it exists, and why we can take it down and break it apart from the inside, honestly. Then we also read Audre Lorde, The Transformation of Silence into Language and Action. And this was a piece about breaking through your silence. So, kind of similar to the other piece, just your silence is violence. Silence is a weapon. The only way to fight against your hardships, fight against the battles you're going through, is to speak. Your voice is really the only thing you are given, and you are going to be attacked and put down and go through things no matter what. So, though hiding may feel safer, you're just doing yourself harm. The one thing you have is your voice and your story and your ability to control that. So you have to speak. Though, like she says, when she was battling, against death, against cancer, it felt easier to just hide from that. But silence isn't protecting you. What's going to protect you and what's going to uplift you is speaking and putting your truth out there. So then we also screened one film and one sort of short in an informational doc, um, Queer Harlem Renaissance, which was about queer artists throughout the Harlem Renaissance. We had, Bessie Smith, we had Ma Rainey, we had Alan Locke, and many more who were artists and songwriters and singers that were not only Black, but they were queer and they were open about it through their art. And so this was just showing how them being Black and them being queer weren't two separate things. Those identities were interlocked, and that's what made their art so powerful, is they were able to tell those stories. And again, like I was talking about with Audre Lorde, they did not hide from those truths. They used them to uplift their stories, uplift other people, and put that out there. The Harlem Renaissance was just as gay as it was Black, and those voices should be told. And this was just summarizing just a few of the many artists who were loud and proud about those different aspects of their identity. And then we also watched the Cancer Journals Revisited 2018, which was a project by Lana Lynn who revisited Audre Lorde's piece, which we just read, and had many people come in and read certain parts of it and go through their stories. So we have this quote here: "I am myself, a Black woman warrior poet," which is what the main takeaway of this film was, is again that theme of all these different things that define us. We have our sexuality, we have our gender, we have our race, we have our social class, we have where we're from, we have where we grew up, we have, our education, all these different things that define us, as well as our tragedies and our hardships, but how we get to reword those and we get to be the one to tell our story. So that's what this film was about, is bringing in these people to address Audre Lorde's pieces and also address their own stories and what they get to put forward and who they see themselves as and their art and their truth. So, what I took away from this whole lesson was the theme of intersectionality, which this sort of means, as you can see in the diagram here, all of these different parts of your identity, they intersect. You can't separate them. I'm not just a woman and I'm not just white. I'm a white woman. Those two things are together to make your identity. You can't separate into all these things. They have to overlap, as we have at this quote, because I'm a woman, because I'm Black, because I'm a lesbian. Those are not separate. Those all have to overlap in order to understand the whole picture. And this is what makes art most powerful, is when you are able to not try to separate and put different pieces of yourself into boxes, and you're actually able to put them all into one beautiful piece of artwork, beautiful piece of music, beautiful painting. You have to be able to intersect and understand all parts of your identity and not be silent and not hide and put it out there. And that's what makes the most beautiful art is intersectionality. That's what I took away from this week's lesson. So I did have a few discussion questions. So how did Audre Lorde's messages differ in her writing versus the Cancer Journal's Revisited 2018? Was it easier to understand her ideology when you see it come to life in real people's stories? So did you understand her points more when you actually see it affecting real people and the way that they interpret it? Or did it have more power when it was just words on a page that you could take just for yourself? And then also, why do artists today choose to keep parts of their identity private? Do we have to know each aspect of their identity, their sexuality, their financial status, etc., in order to truly understand their work? So without intersectionality, without understanding every single aspect that makes someone who they are, can we still understand their art? And does it take away from the power of their art, or could it be more powerful when you go into it blindly? So these are just some things to discuss. This was a great lesson, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed.